presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Blackmore. We are LA.
It's time for Angels Spring Training Baseball this afternoon from Tempe Diablo Stadium. It's the Angels and the San Diego Padres. Hi, everybody. This is Terry Smith along with Jose Mota. Another full house here in Tempe, and what a beautiful day for baseball on St. Patrick's Day. Jose, maybe the Angels will have the luck of the Irish. Today they're going to send to the mound C.J. Wilson.
Terry, happy St. Patrick's to you too, buddy. You know what? One thing for C.J. Wilson, he needs a little luck today because C.J. Wilson's the type of guy that, of course, competes so much against himself. And some things I need to see today from C.J. Wilson. This being his third start this spring. Early contact is going to keep him in the game a little bit longer. Getting his work in. Well, you don't want to be cut short by not being able to get out of innings. And what happened to Jared Weaver yesterday, throwing only 50 pitches and finishing off over there in the bullpen. And then keep the infielders busy, which is a sign of his two-seam fastball running down in the zone and his cut fastball, especially for the left side of the infield, to make sure you keep those guys on their toes and making plays for you.
Jose, it seems like all spring long we've been talking about the battle for the two-hole in the batting order. Today it'll be Alberto Callaspo, and boy, yesterday against the A's, he had on his hitting shoes.
You know, Alberto has always had the ability to handle the bat, to work counts. He's now hitting at 300 here in camp, and there's no doubt to me he continues to be and will always be the best suited player to bat number 2 behind Mike Trout. He showed yesterday his swing is back, flatter through the strike zone, and a guy that could be very clutch in driving in some runs, especially with Trout running in front of him. On the defensive side, he's getting back to that first step quickness, covering a lot of ground, taking charge of the infield, and again, one guy that really takes it to heart to make sure that with the guys on the mound, outs become outs. A guy with a great history with the Angels organization, came through this system, went away for a few years, but certainly great to bring him back. And now, Terry, he's got the comfort of a 2-year contract, which, of course, means more peace of mind.
That trade getting Callaspo back from Kansas City, obviously one the Angels are excited about. Well, Jose, a part of spring training is always injuries. Let's update the Angels' current injury situation.
Yeah, the good thing is we're talking about things that are pretty much brief and things that are light at this point. Ryan Madsen, you know, we consider that the most serious one, but he's playing catch. He went from flat ground at 120 feet to throwing light sessions in the bullpen at about 50%. Hank Cogger, that cramp yesterday in his thumb, he's going to be playing today in the minor leagues. Bill Hall is one guy right now we don't know when he's going to be back now because of the calf issue after hurting his quad early in camp. And then Kevin Jepson is the latest one with that tightness around his triceps, Mike Scioscia said, but not something that's going to hold Kevin Jepson out for a long time.
Jose, today it's the Angels and the Padres, and we'll see an old friend of ours, Buddy Black, the Padre manager.
Buddy Black is one of those guys that when he was with the Angels, he would...
1, 2, 3. There it is. Thank you very much. One. You may be St. Patrick's Day, Big Laura, and the Dodgers are dressed to the nines. Dodgers wearing their home white pants, but when it comes to the jerseys, they're green and white. The caps are green and white. The only departure from years gone by, the bases remain white. There were days in Vero Beach where even the bases would be green. Also, the Dodgers will have a little St. Patrick's party after the game. Tradition carries on, and it's interesting that as they celebrate St. Patrick's Day after the game, today is a reminder. The Dodgers played their last game at Holman Stadium in Vero Beach on St. Patrick's Day of 2008. They lost to the Astros 12-10. But under the heading of My How Time Flies, there is another sentence. Meanwhile, as The Ellis boys, A.J. at one end and Mark at the other, settle in at their positions. We're ready now to take a look at Hyun-Jin Ryu from South Korea. He's 6'1", 220, 26 years old, and works his first pitch and misses for ball one. Ryu, interestingly enough, Ryu is right-handed, even though he pitches left-handed. Foul ball behind the plate off to the left and will go back into the crowd. Hyun-Jin Ryu writes with his right hand, holds his chopsticks with his right hand, grips a ping pong paddle with his right hand. But when he was 10 years old, his father bought him a left-handed glove. So he learned how to throw a baseball left-handed, felt it was natural, and it continued. Ground ball, base hit into left field by Carlos Gomez to open up the ball game. We can give you the lineup now briefly and quickly for Milwaukee. Gomez in center, Donnie Murphy at second base, Jonathan LaCroix behind the plate, Alex Gonzalez at first base, Chris Davis the DH, Taylor Green at short, Cole Garner in left field, Cole Gindel in right field, Hector Gomez at short. So Rio with a runner aboard, Gomez, who just signed an extension for a few years, so he'll be around a while. And the first pitch fouled away, 0-1. It has been a gorgeous morning and a lovely afternoon over here in Glendale. The game time temperature is a beautiful 73 degrees. Bring a blanket. We have the grassy knolls and a lot of folks taking advantage of stretching out and catching the rays. So Donnie Murphy takes a strike, and Rio now jumps out in front. No balls and 2 strikes. We were talking before about Rio and the fact that his dad bought him a left-handed glove. By the time he was 19, he was winning all kinds of honors with the Hanwha Eagles. Pitch out, no action, no running. Dodgers are run conscious. They've stolen 27 bases this year. No score. We're just starting. Top of the first inning. This would be the 20th exhibition game for Milwaukee. They have won 8, lost 10, tied 1. Off-speed breaking ball that takes care of Donnie Murphy, and we have one away. The batter now will be Jonathan LaCroix. Take another look. Sharp down and in, and now LaCroix, right-hand batter, checking in. When he was 19, Rio won the Triple Crown pitching in Korea. So pitching came very naturally to him. Now working on LaCroix. Rio a look at first. There goes the runner. The pitch is low. The throw is not in time. A quick tag by Nick Punto. But Gomez had run and stolen it. So we have a runner at second with 1 out. No score in the ball game. Good jump. Head first slide. The throw just a little behind the runner. Punto had to go and get it. So the batter now, Jonathan LaCroix, waiting at the plate, 1 ball and no strikes. LaCroix just joined the ball club. He was on Team USA. Alex Gonzalez on deck. Ryu ready and deals low with a fastball. 1 ball and no strikes. Show you how interested the Dodgers were on Ryu. You may or may not know the Dodgers paid the Hanwha Eagles $25.7 million to be exact, for the exclusive rights to negotiate with him. His next pitch in for a strike, and the Dodgers then signed him to a 6-year deal for $36 million. Rio, among other things, a very good ping pong player. He has Gomez at second, 1 out. LaCroix waiting at the plate. Jonathan hits a slow roller to third. Fair ball. No play at third. Cruz turned to see if he could tag the runner. He couldn't do that. By that time, he lost the play at first, and it'll be a base hit for Jonathan LaCroix. So first and third for Milwaukee, one away, and Alex Gonzalez coming up. The Milwaukee Brewers, over the last 2 years, put on some very, very fine performances. 2 years ago, 2011, they suffered some repercussions. They actually drew 3 million people and then drifted to 2.8 last year. Ryu's pitch is swung on, fastball fouled away, 0-1. The Brewers won 13 fewer games last year than the year before, though they finished 14 games behind the Reds, 5 behind the Cardinals. The big problem for Milwaukee was pitching. They finished ahead of only Chicago, Houston, and Colorado in National League earned run average. Though looking over the games, they suffered a combined loss of over 300 games, and they just could never get started. They did win 83 games, but of course, 2011, they won 96. Ryu looks at the runners, now to the plate. Big, slow curveball, hit in the air to right center, slashing over to Schumacher in the gap. It's caught by Ethier. Tagging up at third is Gomez, and he brings it in. So a long fly ball off the bat of Alex Gonzalez. Ethier makes the catch in right center. The stolen base is cashed in, and Milwaukee out in front, 1-0. And remember, the Brewers last year not only beat the Dodgers 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee, they shamed the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. They beat the Dodgers 4 straight times in their own ballpark. So now the batter is Chris Davis, and they like him very much. He takes a strike, and they count 0-1. Chris Davis, they refer to him as, kind of like a throwback player, like a Lenny Dykstra. But they're very high on all of his abilities. Here comes Ryu back with a fastball line drive into center field for a base hit. So Ryu having troubles here in the first inning when Gomez singled to center, stole second. Murphy struck out. LaCroix got a base hit on a dribbler to third. The scoring fly ball, and now a line drive single to center that advanced LaCroix to second base. 3 hits and a run. And the batter now, Taylor Green. Taylor Green figures not to be in the starting lineup at short. He backs off in a pitch, ball 1. John Segura, they think, will be the starting shortstop. But Green will have a lot to say about it. So Taylor Green, left-hand batter, bent at the knees and waist. Ryu delivers, and it's popped in the air off third, down the line, foul, and back into the plow. Taylor Green is from Canada. He's from Comox in British Columbia. However, he went to Cypress Community College in Cypress, California. He was what they call a draft and follow pick. And then 2 years ago, he was the Brewers minor league player of the year. He hits a little flare. Backing up is Ellis. Mark makes the catch, and the inning is over. Not before Milwaukee picks up a run on 3 hits, lead 2, and at the end of half an inning, 1-0 Brewers. on St. Patrick's Day. Rio touched up for a run and 3 hits, and we'll take a look at the Dodger lineup. We start off with Carl Crawford, who is expected to play the whole game as the DH. Then it'll be Mark Ellis and Andre Ethier, Adrian Gonzalez, followed by Hairston in left field. Chris Schumacher is in center field. Luis Cruz at third. A.J. Ellis behind the plate. And here's Nick Punto. So Carl Crawford, first time we've seen him in a while. The pride of Houston, Texas, who makes his home over here in Scottsdale. Crawford put up some big numbers in his career. He's had as many as 19 home runs and 90 runs batted in. That would be his most productive year. And he takes ball one. He's left-handed all the way, and Carl is certainly big enough. He is 6'2" and 220. He'll be 32 in August. He takes just off the plate. So Crawford, the left hand had awaiting. Back he comes with a fastball sliced down the left field line out of play. As you may know, Carl Crawford had Tommy John surgery, having played with the Red Sox, came over in that mammoth deal last year. Before he was hurt, he was in 31 games, and he was hitting .282. He pulls away from a pitch low and inside. Giovanni Gallardo is on the mound for Milwaukee. He's from Michoacan, Mexico, lives in Fort Worth, Texas. 6'1", about 215. The next one to Crawford is swung on, hit in the air into shallow right center. Coming up is the center fielder Chris Gomez, and puts it away. So one down, and Mark Ellis will be coming up. By the way, in talking about Gallardo, his name will forever be linked with the Dodgers off the field. If you go back to August 27th, that would be 2010. Giovanni Gallardo and the Dodger clubhouse attendant Alex Sanchez were robbed at gunpoint hours after Gallardo had pitched in a game that the Brewers lost to the Dodgers. As Alex and Giovanni agreed, a scary moment. It happened shortly after the game. The armed men approached the two, Sanchez and Gallardo, in a supermarket parking lot, demanding money and jewelry. Sanchez was hit in the head but was not seriously injured. But that's being brought back to earth in a hurry after pitching a good ball game and then come out and get held up in a supermarket with the Dodger equipment man. So Gallardo is known certainly for that misadventure, and the Dodgers certainly understand his problems. In 2011, Gallardo became the second Brewer pitcher ever to strike out 4 batters in an inning. The only other pitcher, Manny Parra, did it in St. Louis back in 2010. Gallardo ready and comes back. A little flare into right field. That will drop for a base hit. So Mark Ellis goes the other way, singles to right, and that will bring up Andre Ethier. It's 1-0 in favor of Milwaukee. So Andre Ethier checking in, getting ready for a full year. Ethier hitting over 300 this spring, batting .304. 7 hits, including 2 doubles and 2 triples. He has 1 run batted in. So Gallardo ready and delivers a full swing drive to left field, going back on the ball, still going back, trying to make an over-the-shoulder catch, and he can't do it as it bounces on over the left field wall. So Ethier sent Cole Garner all the way. Garner looked a little bit confused out there, and the ball kept carrying. It might very well have been caught by a better left fielder, or perhaps at a better time. Instead, ground rule double for Ethier. and that puts runners at second and third, 1 out. Dodgers down 1-0 and a chance to at least get even. And Adrian Gonzalez checking in. Adrian hitting .200, but of course he spent some time away playing for the Mexican team in the World Baseball Classic. Gallardo set at the belt. Runners at second and third, and the fastball is high, ball 1. 1-0. Gallardo for the Brewers struck out 207 in 207 innings. He throws hard. Right-handed comes back and keeps it up on a check swing, 1-1. For Gallardo last year, he was tied for the number of quality starts. He had 8 quality starts. We told you his ERA was 2.7, but it could easily have been 2.2. He gets a strike on Gonzalez, and the count 2-1. The last 54 innings that he pitched last year, he allowed only 2 home runs. Giovanni Gallardo. Gallardo ready and comes back, and that's lifted the air in left center and deep. Going back is Garner, and Gomez. It is going to go out of here. Onto the seats and the greensward back of the left center field fence. And just like that, the Dodgers turn it around and lead 3-1. Adrian Gonzalez, who expected, so he said, to be a lot stronger this year from the way he worked out in the postseason. And he had that thing over 380 feet away over the left center field wall. So Adrian Gonzalez, remember, Gonzalez has a lot of power. He had 40 home runs one year for the Padres. And by the way, talking about the Padres, they brought the fences in, and they've also lowered the fence in right field. So there'll be a few more home runs in San Diego this year. Now the batter is Jerry Hairston playing left field, while Carl Crawford is the DH. So Gallardo is burned with the 3-run home run. And there's a check swing foul ball, no play. One thing about Gallardo, throughout the year, the middle of the lineup wore him out. The numbers 3 through 6 hitters hit .330 against him. And in the first 3 innings in his games, his earned run average just about 6. So it's not too much of a surprise to see the Dodgers pick up 3 in the first inning. He is also a dominating pitcher in the month of May. Fastball low. In the month of May, Gallardo's career numbers, he is 12-4 with an earned run average of 2.7. So the big boy from Michoacan and Fort Worth, Texas, down 3-1 to the Dodgers. Hairston chasing it down in the dirt, comes up empty and strikes out. So that's the second out in the inning, and the batter now will be Chris Schumacher. Dodgers lead 3-1 here in the first inning. Schumacher hitting .242. He has piled up 8 hits, including 4 doubles and a triple. Schumacher up there. Third baseman Taylor Green shortens up. And the pitch missing, ball 1. 1-0. Gallardo trailing 3-1. Giovanni ready, back with a fastball. That's whacked into right field. Gindel over. He's going to have to play it in the corner. Racing for second ahead of the throw, and in there safely is Chris Schumacher. So Schumacher keeps the inning alive. So we've had 2 doubles, a single, and a home run here in the first inning. And the Dodgers doing the celebrating right now and leading The batter now, the number 7 man in the lineup, is Luis Cruz. Cruz waiting, holds up on a big overhand curveball that's low. 1 ball and no strike. You remember that Cruz was a central figure in the big battle with the USA, and among those in uniform today against Cruz and the Dodgers, among others, would be the catcher Jonathan LaCroix, who's behind the plate, and one of the fellows who was hit by a pitch during that game that caused all the fighting with the USA and Mexico is also on the roster for Milwaukee. I'm not familiar with the names. It'll take me a second. Sounds like Testoni. There's a little ground ball, a throw to first in time for the out. However, the Dodgers pile it up. They have a single, 2 doubles, and a home run. They have a man left. And at the end of an inning, Dodgers lead 3-1. Ranch, Dodgers leading 3-1. 3-run home run hit by Adrian Gonzalez to deep left center field. So now the Brewers come up. They'll have Cole Garner, Caleb Gindel, and Hector Gomez. Ryu ready. Big slow breaking ball that stays high. Ball 1. 1-0. Sandy Koufax was talking about Ryu while Sandy was down here for about 10 to 12 days. And he was showing Ryu. There's a ball hit at the shortstop, picked off by Nick Punto on the line drive for the out. Anyway, Sandy said that Ryu is so human. He showed Ryu a new grip on the ball. Ryu would throw it on the sidelines. Then he'd go out to the field and revert back to the original. If you've ever played golf and somebody gives you a new grip or a new swing and you do it and they say that's it, but then as soon as you go out to compete, you go back to the old stuff, and that's where Ryu is. Not that he disdained Koufax's advice, but just the thought, hey, I got here with what I have. I don't want to monkey with it now. I haven't even made the team. Drops another one in nicely for a strike. The batter now, Coles Gindel. Left-hand batter. Ryu's breaking ball is low. Gindel's from Milton, Florida. He had a lot of nagging injuries last year, including a lower back that cost him a September call-up. And he really had the worst offensive performance of his 6-year career. He was at Nashville AAA, and he struggled. He had 261. Basically, he had been a 300 hitter. He's 5'9", a good 185, and the fastball on the hands, foul back, out of play. He's a very versatile ball player. He has gap power. He's a below-average runner, but he looks like he might make the club as an extra outfielder and a left-handed bat coming off the bench. Fouls another pitch back. 5'9", 185, and he was born in 1988. Caleb Gindl, Gindl. One thing about Rio, he doesn't waste any time. He comes right back with a high fastball hit to right field and deep in the corner and foul. Gindl had 12 home runs at Nashville last year, 15 the year before. A couple of years ago in the Florida State League, he had 17, so he has a little sock. On deck, the shortstop, Hector Gomez. Dodgers lead 3-1 here in the second inning. Dodgers have won 7, lost 11, and they've had 3 ties. But just the sight of Milwaukee has to shake up the Dodgers. The Brewers put it to them. Gindl swings, doesn't get the next pitch, and down he goes. Second strikeout for Ryu. And the batter now is Hector Gomez. Ryu is also smart with a good sense of humor. Earlier in the spring, the Dodgers had a big ping pong tournament, and it finally settled down to Rio against Mattingly. And Don Mattingly beat him in ping pong. So they asked Rio after the match, how come you lost to Mattingly? And with a little smile on his face, he said in Korean, it would be considered impolite at home for a player to beat his manager. Rio delivers, and it's fouled away. And the count 1-1 strike. St. Patrick's Day. If you've been with the Dodgers at all, St. Patrick's and Walter O'Malley really go together. Pitch swung on and missed 1 and 2. And talking about the name O'Malley, the Friendly Sons of Ireland will be honoring Peter O'Malley himself. Peter getting the honors, well deserved tonight. There's a high fastball waved at. Gomes really fooled. So Rio picks up 2 strikeouts in the second inning, 3 strikeouts in the game, and the Dodgers lead 3-1. 2-1, bottom of the second inning. A.J. Ellis followed by Nick Punto and then Chad Crawford. It'll be coming up with Carl Crawford coming up for his second at bat as the DH. So A.J. Ellis checking in, the #1 catcher. After a fine year last year, A.J. hit .304 in Albuquerque, and that resulted in the call-up, and he was steady Eddie for the remainder of the baseball year. Ellis takes off the plate, ball 1, 1-0. A.J. Ellis hitting a cool .350 in the spring. Takes a Gallardo pitch low, and he's out in front. 2-0. Brewers picked up a run. Gomez single, stole second, took third on LaCroix's infield hit, scored on a base hit by Davis. Now A.J. whacks it into left field for a base hit. So Ellis, big turn at first and holding with a line drive single, and that will bring up Nick Punto. We have a moment to remind you, Sunday, April the 7th, the Dodgers face the Pirates. The first 15,000 ticketed kids 14 and under in attendance receive their own Matt Kemp replica jersey, compliments of Dreyer's Grand Ice Cream. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Here's Nick Punto. He had the machinery working for Italy during the World Baseball Cup. Nick looks at an off-speed pitch for a strike, and the count 0-1. Punto hitting .313 in the spring. Another one of those fellows who can be very valuable, and the Dodgers have several who can play more than one position. Punto, switch hitter, batting left-handed against Gallardo, and the pitch is low. Punto is about 5'9", checks in at 190. Born in San Diego, lives Mission Viejo, and went to Saddleback Junior College. Whenever you hear about him, you always hear the terms hard-nosed, scrappy, and a hard worker. There goes Ellis on a hit-and-run roll at a second, a tag for one, and the throw to first for the double play. A heads-up play by Donnie Murphy, the Milwaukee second baseman. So he gets a put-out and an assist, tagging A.J. Ellis, who was going and literally ran right into the tag. He had nowhere to go. So 2 down in the second inning. 3-1 in favor of the Dodgers. And here is Carl Crawford. Crawford as the DH. This will be his second at bat. He hits a ground ball to short. Over there is Hector to make the play. So the Dodgers go quickly as Hector Gomez handles that one. Base hit, nothing left, and at the end of 2, it remains 3-1 Dodgers. 3 degrees over in Glendale. We're going into the third inning with the Dodgers leading 3-1, and Rio getting ready to pitch to Carlos Gomez, who led off the game with a base hit, stole second, and eventually came around to score a run. So Gomez, who is the center fielder, takes a good look at a pitch that balances the count, 1-1. Hyun-Jin Ryu working on Carlos, who's from Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic. Fouls it back. Gomez, basically a very aggressive hitter, swings at the first pitch a lot. Also is a good bunter. He stole, and he has stolen as many as 64 bases in the minor league, so he can run. The next pitch, a slider inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the boy from Santiago in the Dominican Republic, who was originally signed by the Mets, went from the Mets to the Twins to the Brewers. Now he's ahead of the count, 3-2. His dad played professional softball in the Dominican, and people say if Carlos wanted to play football, he'd be a great receiver in the NFL. Right now, he jumps on one and pulls it foul. Happy fan down in the corner. Carlos Gomez, well put together, 6'4", 200-pounder, 27 years old. Does not speak much English. And draws ball 4. So Gomez draws the walk. Now remember, he stole second in the first inning, and he can motor. Had 16 stolen bases a year ago for the Brewers. Had 33 stolen bases when he was with the Twins, and he stole first in the first inning. Does steal on a left-hander and make it look easy. That's worthy of note. Donnie Murphy struck out in the first inning. And meanwhile, Rio's going to keep an eye on Carlos Gomez. We were talking a little while ago when Luis Cruz was playing, and we said that 2 members of the Milwaukee team were on that USA squad when Cruz ignited the riot, breaking ball in for a strike. Remember, the Mexican pitcher pitched. The USA batter, Chris Johnson, bunted for a base hit. Cruz picked up the ball, stuck it to his ribs, and then pointed to home plate, telling his pitcher, nail this guy, not realizing runs were very important, not just in the final score, but also in the rating of the teams. And, of course, the brawl. And we mentioned Jonathan LaCroix, who's catching today, was involved in it. And the other fella who was hit by the pitch, Rene Tassoni, is in the dugout for Milwaukee. So it was a bad moment, and it's brought to mind only because of the presence of those involved. Rio, another look over at first, now to the plate, fastball away. 1-2 the count to Donnie Murphy. Dodgers 3. They had a single by Mark Ellis, a double by Andre Ethier, and a 3-run home run by Adrian Gonzalez. The next pitch in the dirt. 1-2 the count. A meeting in the spring with the Dodgers and the Milwaukee Brewers. Dodgers, remember, finished 8 behind the Giants. Milwaukee finished 14 behind the Reds, 5 behind St. Louis, trying to be a wild card. Throw to first, diving back to the bag is Gomez. Gomez, not only a good runner, a couple of years ago they were talking about him in spring training. He had a 37-inch vertical leap. That's actually good for an NBA prospect. Next one in the dirt gets through the legs of A.J. Ellis. Down to second base goes Gomez. And we'll assume it's a wild pitch unless we hear otherwise. So Rio gave up 3 hits and a run in the first inning. He has struck out 3, retired the side in order in the second. And here in the third, leading 3-1, has given up a walk and a wild pitch. So Donnie Murphy now trying to advance his man. The outfield fanned out very deep, just about straight away. And Rio delivers away. Ball 4, missing with a fastball. So 2 walks in the inning. And now the heavy hitters, Jonathan LaCroix and Alex Gonzalez. So Jonathan LaCroix, a year ago, had surgery on a broken right pinky finger. Suffered that in a blocking drill in spring training. Jonathan's from Lafayette, Louisiana, went to the University of Louisiana. He's an even 6, 200-pounder, right-handed all the way. So 2 on, nobody out, third inning. Dodgers leading 3-1, but Milwaukee trying to get off the deck. Fastball to LaCroix, in for a strike. 0-1. LaCroix, if you had to put a tag on him, probably be a hitter about 260. Strike 1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Jonathan LaCroix from Lafayette. We are here, Louisiana. Hitting back of LaCroix, Alex Gonzalez. Next pitch, fastball, and that's low. If you miss the names of a couple of familiar Brewers, you can understand. Some of them taking treatment. Corey Hart underwent knee surgery in January, so they're being very careful with him. Next pitch outside, ball 3. Matt Gamel, he had surgery, so there are a few fellas you might expect to see and hear from, and they're not able to play. Well, now Rio is in some trouble. He's 3-1. He's walked 2, nobody out, on the edge of giving up his 3rd consecutive walk. Instead, the 3-1 fastball fouled away off to the right and out of play. So 3-2. A.J. Ellis going through some motions to Ryu. Ryu wants a new ball. That's another thing that he talked about, the difference between the ball in South Korea and the ball here. He finds it more difficult to hold the American ball. I'm not sure if it's slippery, but it's a little difficult, and it could be part of his problem right now. The runners go, and the pitch is swung on and fouled away. So with nobody out, runners at first and second, Ron Renicky turns them loose. Gomez from second, Murphy from first, and LaCroix fouled it off. All right, the runners get back. LaCroix is waiting. Alex Gonzalez waiting on deck. So they were going once, 3-2. The chances are they go again, but first a pickoff attempt that doesn't work. Formerly a member of the Milwaukee Brewers, of course, that would be Zach Greinke. And Greinke is coming along nicely. The last words we had from Don Mattingly. You know, he's had an elbow problem. There go the runners, and the pitch is hit in the air to left field. Racing over to make the catch for the out in left field is Hairston, and the Brewer runners have to get back. So LaCroix, a fly ball to left, 1 out, and Alex Gonzalez coming up. As far as his work is concerned, Don Mattingly said that the pen for Greinke will be a light one. We'll see how he comes out of it before deciding what's next. Dodgers have a split squad game. That's where Yasiel Puig and Matt Kemp are. Ted Lilly will pitch in that game, and he'll throw 50 or 60 to pitches. Slow curveball fouled away by Gonzalez. Clayton Kershaw was brilliant against the Rangers. His heel was a little sore, but it didn't bother him at all, and he said he's fine. So Alex Gonzalez waiting at the plate. Dodgers lead 3-1. The Brewers have runners at first and second. Alex, right-hand batter. He's an even 6, 200-pounder from Cagua in Venezuela. And time now, just as Rio was ready to pitch. Gonzalez originally signed by the Marlins, and he stayed with them through 2005. Went to the Red Sox and the Reds, the Blue Jays and the Braves. Little roll at a third. Cruz makes a good play, and the runners move up. So Gonzalez taps to third, 2 out, second and third, and Chris Davis coming up. So Chris Davis coming up with a chance to tie it up with a base hit. Dodgers 3, Brewers 1. We are slowly but surely running out of telecasts. We have a telecast tomorrow, prime ticket. We have 2 more with KCAL, including a night game on the 26th with Colorado. And then shortly thereafter, the Dodgers will play 3 with the Angels. The middle game at Dodger Stadium will be televising. And after that, the season will be underway. Meanwhile, Chris Davis waiting on the plate, 5'11", 190. He was drafted out of Cal State Fullerton. He'll be 26 in December. Had an injury that slowed him down last year. Big swing and a miss. He strained his right calf, tried to return too soon, re-injured the leg. That cost him 2 months of the season. He was at Nashville. Determined to make up lost time. He then made an offensive binge when he returned to Double-A. Right-hand hitter swings late, fouls it back. He doesn't usually get himself out as often as he did earlier in the career. He's a below-average runner. Arm isn't particularly strong. Looks like he'll be behind Ryan Braun for a long time to come. But he is rated a serviceable outfielder and has some experience out there. This time down he goes. So Rio in trouble, walks 2 and then nails the next 3. And at the end of 2.5 innings, 3-1 Dodgers. to a 3-run home run by Adrian Gonzalez over the left center field wall against Giovanni Gallardo, who has now left the game. And the new pitcher is John Axford. A couple of things about John. He had Tommy John surgery back in 2004. He's from Simcoe, Ontario in Canada, and was originally signed as a free agent by the Yankees. He came up to the Brewers 3 years ago, then went back down, and each of the last 3 he has been up and down. John Axford is of Dutch heritage on his mother's side, and his grandparents immigrated to Canada before his mother was born, just after World War II. He was a soccer player in elementary school. He's big, 6'5", 205-pounder. He will be 30 years old opening day. For the Dodgers, Mark Ellis will lead it off. Ball 1. 1-0 to Mark. John Axford, having had the Tommy John surgery, one of hundreds of players, not all pitchers, who have had their careers saved by the genius of Dr. Frank Jobe. In fact, it should really be called the Jobe operation, but Tommy underwent it, got the name, and it stuck. We're hoping the name Frank Jobe will stick come time at the All-Star game. Line drive, single to center. So Mark Ellis greets Axford with a line drive base hit. He's 2 for 2. And the batter will be Andre Ethier. In the old days, when they had the ceremonies at Cooperstown, the players, the broadcaster, and the sports writer were all inducted. Some felt that that took a lot away from the players. Could understand that. So what they're going to do now, they will have 2 ceremonies, one on Saturday honoring the broadcaster and the writer, and then on Sunday honoring the ball player. Big curveball for ball 1. Well, on Saturday, when the broadcasters and the sports writer will be honored, so will Dr. Frank Jobe for his remarkable contributions to the game of baseball and the welfare of the players. 1 ball and no strikes. And ball 2. Ethier doubled to left field in the first inning. Though Andre 1 for 1, having a very enjoyable spring. Of course, he lives over here. Andre and the family works out in the daytime and then dinner at home. Dodgers lead 3-1, bottom of the 3rd. John Axford from Canada, the second pitcher. The next one, Ethier swings, bangs into the gap in left center field on the dead run. Trying to get it is Gomez, and he can't make the catch. And the Dodgers have runners at second and third with nobody out. So Ellis is 2 for 2 with singles. Ethier is 2 for 2 with doubles. Andre driving the ball deep in the gap in left center. So Axford being pushed around. Dodgers with a golden chance to open it up. And here comes Adrian Gonzalez. So Gonzalez hit that bomb, 3-run home run over the left center field wall. That gave the Dodgers the 3-0 lead. Axford basically fastball, curveball, and an occasional slider. High fly ball into straightaway left field. Garner is there for the catch. Tagging is Mark Ellis. He will score. Holding at second is Andre Ethier. And the Dodgers now lead 4-1. So Adrian Gonzalez has knocked in all 4. So a big day for Adrian and for the Dodgers. Remember, The Milwaukee Brewers came into Dodger Stadium last year, all 4 games, and beat the Dodgers in all of them. So you can't call it payback in extra innings, but you can't call it payback in spring training. But in a sense, it's payback and a reminder that it won't happen again this year. So here is Jerry Hairston, and he takes a strike, and the count 0-1. Dodgers 4, Brewers 1. Big overhand pop fly to the right side. Second baseman Donnie Murphy makes the catch. Holding at second with nowhere to go is Andre Ethier. I was just looking at John Axford to see if he changed at all in the glare. No, it's the same John. He was a cult hero for a while because of his mustache, wild mane of hair. Sometimes waxes the mustache during the course of the year like old Raleigh Fingers. John Axford. Dodgers trying to wax his mustache right now. Picked up a run and lead 4-1. And here's Skip Schumacher and takes ball 1. 1-0. Schumacher, a double duty man, play anywhere in the outfield and in the infield, playing center field today. Axford out of his stretch. We're in the bottom of the third. 4-1 Dodgers, and the next one in for a strike. We mentioned Axford suffered Tommy John surgery. That was back on 2004. He tore the ulnar collateral ligament in his elbow. Fastball low. Axford, perhaps learning following the arm surgery, really gets his back into the pitch. Two of the greatest pitchers I ever saw, to me, had perfect form. One was Roger Clemens, and the other was Tom Seaver. Axford ready, over the top comebacker. Nice play by John, and that's the out. So the Dodgers get doubles and get a run. And at the end of 3, Dodgers 4, Milwaukee 1. Cal 9, sponsored by Carl's Jr., made from scratch buttermilk biscuits, baked fresh every morning. Hope you're enjoying St. Patrick's Day. Beautiful day here, and the Dodgers leading 4-1. Dodgers wearing green jerseys to celebrate the occasion. I'll always remember, I was very small. My father died, so my mother took me back to Ireland for her to recover. And one of the very first meals out at the farm in Ireland, and they delivered whatever the meal was, and I asked for a glass of milk, and my uncle said, just a minute. And about 5 minutes later, he came in with a pitcher of milk, gave me a glass of milk. It was red hot. It came directly from the cow. There was no other way to get milk in Ireland. Oh, shame on me. Anyway, here's Taylor Green, who popped up, and it's a comeback back to Ryu. And we have one away. I also, and I will drop the Irish after this, you've heard of some smooth-talking devil, and they used to say, he must have kissed the Blarney Stone. I kissed the Blarney Stone. They took me over to the castle when I was very little. The only thing I remember about it, they lowered me down the hole head first. And you swing out and kiss the wall of the hole, which is the stone of Blarney Castle. But I have never been considered smooth talking. Never. One away, and here is Garner. Takes a strike. Cole Garner hit the ball on the button. Lined out to shortstop in the second inning, 0 for 1. Hyun-Jin Ryu sneaks a good fastball on the outside corner. 5 strikeouts for him. So he might have had a little bit of trouble in the first inning. An infield single really hurt him. He gave up a run, but he's been breezing ever since. 2 out, 5 strikeouts. And the batter will be Caleb Gindel, who struck out in the second inning. Gindel's a boy from Milton, Florida. Gindel in his minor league career has played in all 3 outfield positions. So if he hits at all, he's got a shot to make the club. Big roundhouse bender. In the dirt. So Rio falls behind now. 3-1 the count. Hyun-Jin Ryu, he is 6'1" and about 220. I mean, he's a big fella. He's from Incheon in South Korea. Pitched 4 years for the Hanwha Eagles. In his first year as a professional, he was the first Korean player to be the Rookie of the Year and the MVP in the same season. In other words, he was the Don Newcombe of South Korea. Three and two. And it's hit in the air to dead center. Starting back was Schumacher, but he comes up to make the play. So it's a 1-2-3 inning for Hyun-Jin Ryu. And at the end of 3.5 innings, Dodgers lead 4-1. We have a trivia question for you. We told you that in 2008 on this day, the Dodgers played their last game at Holman Stadium in Vero Beach. Well, now let's think about it. This is the 5th season the Dodgers have trained at Camelback Ranch. How many years did they train at their previous home in Vero Beach? Well, we'll let you chew on that a little while, and we'll give you the answer in a bit. John Kinsler will pick up for Axford. It just didn't work. Axford couldn't really loosen up. Gave up a single double run before the chairs were warm. And so they'll bring in Kinsler. Checking to see. Brandon Kinsler was born in Las Vegas. 6'1", 185-pounder. He was originally drafted by the Padres out of Dixie Junior College. Fastball runs inside. He went to Palo Verde High School, then Pasadena City College, then Dixie Junior College in Utah before the Padres drafted him. He has pitched in the big leagues, but not for the Padres. This would be his 3rd year pitching for the Brewers. He had shoulder problems, and he was released by San Diego. Picked up and pitched in Winnipeg in the Northern League for the Gold Eyes. Foul back. And very slow in trying to fight his way back. He's basically fastball and slider. The Kinsler's had a lot of arm trouble. Tendinitis, frayed labrum and rotator cuff. Had to have surgery. Strained oblique muscle. Missing low and away. Then he had a MRI of his right tricep. And surgery for a stress fracture in his right arm. They put a screw near the elbow. So he has paid the price. Good pitch, and down goes Luis Cruz. The semifinals for the World Cup will be tomorrow night in San Francisco. The USA has been eliminated. I guess the big surprise, one of the 4 teams remaining, would be the Netherlands. One away, and here's A.J. Ellis. Ball 1. A.J. single to left field and was tagged as he ran into a ground ball double play. Facing Brandon Kinsler. Brandy's fastball hit to center. Cruising over is Carlos Gomez to make the catch. And we have 2 down in the 4th inning. Nick Punto coming up. Dodgers did most of the damage in the 1st inning. After the Brewers had scored a run on 3 hits, scoring fly ball got it home. Dodgers had Adrian Gonzalez hit a 3-run home run in the 1st inning, and Andre Ethier double in a run in the 3rd. So we're in the bottom of the 4th, and it's 4-1 Dodgers on a lazy afternoon here in Arizona. 1 ball and no strikes to Punto. Carl Crawford on deck. Check swing for a strike. Tomorrow's game will be on Prime Ticket coming from Camelback Ranch. That'll be the Dodgers and the Arizona Diamondbacks. 1 ball and 1 strike. Sprayed foul off to the left, out of play. It's a good sized ballpark here. 345 down the lines. 410 to dead center. Power alleys are 380. So they're big league ballparks instead. Two and two. Milwaukee trains in an area not far from here called Maryvale. Two and two. Little ground ball, nice easy play for Alex Gonzalez. So a 1-2-3 inning. And at the end of 4. Dodgers 4, Brewers 1. You buy Time Warner Cable. Enjoy all the things you love better. Call Time Warner Cable. 1-855-WANT-TWC. Hyun-Jin Ryu ready to work his 5th inning. He's allowed 1 run and 3 hits. He has struck out 5 and walked 2. And he'll be starting off with Hector Gomez, the shortstop. Gomez struck out in the 2nd inning, 0 for 1. Off-speed pitch just ran away. Hector be followed by Carlos Gomez and then Donnie Murphy. Fastball fouled off. We don't have the pitch number for Rio, but he's sailing along nicely. Outside of that one spot in the 3rd inning when he had back-to-back walks to Gomez and Murphy. 2-2 the count to Hector Gomez. Would not bite on that curveball. 3-2. Ryu's stuff is certainly deceptive. I mean, his fastball can get up to 89. Then he has the slow curveball that's really just for show. Then he has that pitch is like part curve and part slider, and then a changeup. And that thing is hit high and deep, but it'll wind up in the glove of Skip Schumacher. And just like that, 1 away. And the batter will be Carlos Gomez. Nice crowd on hand on this Sunday afternoon. The capacity crowd here in Camelback Ranch would be up around 13,000 or a little more. They say the capacity's 10,300, but you can always get a lot of people, and you usually do, out on the grassy knolls and the left field line, the right field line, and in left center and right center. That would accommodate about 3,000 people with towels. Boy, that was a big swing. He almost came out of his shoes, did Carlos Gomez. So the capacity's 10. The crowd in the grass could get you up to 3, and the biggest crowd here did just that. The biggest crowd, 13,645, when the Dodgers played here last year on St. Patrick's Day. 2-1. Off-speed breaking ball in there. And you could see the reaction of Gomez walking away from the plate. He was outthought. He was frozen, looked at the breaking ball. Oh, come on. Now one at his feet. Remember, he opened up the game with a line drive single, walk last time up. He has been given an extended contract with Milwaukee, so he'll be a Brewer for quite a while. Carlos Gomez, and he hits one in left, moving over and deep. Reaching up to make the nice catch is Jerry Hairston. Boy, that's another comfort to Don Mattingly, that if Carl Crawford is not ready to play, he has people like Hairston and Schumacher to go out there and play, while at the same time they can handle the infield. So for Don Mattingly and his coaches, sitting back, Trey Hillman enjoying the sun and those dashing green jerseys. Here's Donnie Murphy. About time we had an Irishman in the game. Down he goes. And that was easy. 1, 2, 3. That's 9 in a row retired by Ryu. And at the end of 4.5 innings, 4-1 Dodgers. One lead. A reminder, Wednesday, April 3rd, the Dodgers and the Giants, who can forget. And the first 40,000 fans in attendance received their very own Dodgers hooded sweatshirt, compliments of Coca-Cola. Stay warm at the stadium and at home by purchasing your tickets today at Dodgers.com/promotions. Boys enjoying the beautiful day here. One of the big differences between Arizona and Florida for Dodger players, a difference between Camelback Ranch and Holman Stadium, the dugouts. In Vero Beach, there were no roofs on top of the dugouts. When Branch Rickey was first there, when they took over Vero, he said, they're down here to sweat. I don't want them sitting in the shade. Of course, in those days, and we've talked about this certainly over the years, the number one thing you saw in spring training were the heavy rubber shirts that you wore under your baseball uniform. And it went right up to the base of your neck and right down to the wrists of your arms. Ground ball, nice pick at short. And just like that, as Hector Gomez takes care of Carl Crawford, who's had 3 at-bats and 0 for 3, but swinging the bat well without any sign of pain. Yeah, no rubber shirts anymore. In the old days, the players came to camp to get into shape. Today, they come to camp only to polish up reflexes, eye-hand coordination, strengthen the legs. But you don't see some player arriving in camp ready, well, I'm going to lose 20 pounds or whatever. Not very often. One ball and 1 strike. 1 away, bottom of the 5th. Dodgers lead 4-1. 3 pitchers, Gallardo, Axford, and Kinsler. And a high fly ball to left field. Garner goes back at the bullpen fence and watches it go out. So Mark Ellis on a tear, 2 singles and a home run. He has scored 3 times. So Mark Ellis is about ready for April 1. And boy, that thing went a long way to the back of the bullpen. Well hit indeed. So Mark gets the 5s in the dugout. And the batter now, Andre Ethier. Ethier trying to keep pace with Mark Ellis, but it's tough. In the first inning, Ellis singled and Ethier doubled. In the 3rd inning, Ellis singled and Ethier doubled. But now, trying to play can you top this, Ellis has homered. There's a drive into left center that will fall for the base hit. So Ethier, 3 for 3. Interesting what Andre Ethier and Mark McGwire were talking about several weeks ago. You know, the great Ted Williams, you could sum up his entire theory of hitting. Because all you had to do is have a pencil and paper. And you would draw on a piece of paper what you think was your strike zone. Then you would start making dots where in that strike zone you would love to get the pitch. And then the area is still in the strike zone where you make out. So then you begin to have full knowledge of your sweet spot, and if you want to, a sour spot. And with just that in mind, you go up to home plate to hit. And all you're doing is looking for the pitch in the sweet spot. If it comes, you rip it. If it doesn't come, you're patient and you wait and you wait. Another drive to left field and deep, and another run by Garner to the wall, and that one is gone. So Adrian Gonzalez found the sweet spot twice. He's had 2 home runs and a scoring fly ball. So Adrian has a half a dozen runs batted in. And the Dodgers, 3 in the first, 1 in the 3rd, 2 more, and now another. And they have a comfortable 7-1 lead. And it's an ovation for Adrian Gonzalez as he goes back to the dugout. So for Adrian, he finds the sweet spot as soon as he comes to the plate. Then if you're a student trying to learn hitting, you say, well, Coach, what happens if you don't get the pitch in the sweet spot? Well, you keep looking and you keep looking, and then if the hitter has 2 strikes on you, then it's good luck. Do the best you can. But you never stop looking for the sweet spot. Dodgers have 3 home runs. They've had 2 in the inning, 3 runs in the inning, and lead 7-1. Jerry Hairston struck out, popped out, made a fine running catch in the outfield. 0-2. I'll always remember a long, long time ago, in the middle 60s, early 70s at best, Dodgers had an infielder from Minnesota named Zoilo Versalles. And I like Zoilo. He was a very nice guy. He was from Cuba. And I admired the fact that he would take almost every penny he earned, send it back to his relatives in Cuba. So he was barely surviving in the country. Well, knowing all that and knowing he was a nice guy, you rooted for him. And he was struggling. He was hitting 190. And I really felt badly for him. Hairston goes down, and the batter now will be Schumacher. Anyway, on an airplane one day, I had Ted Williams' theory on hitting, all about looking for the sweet spot, etc., that we just talked about. So I walked to the back of the plane. I said, "Here, Zoilo, read this. Maybe it'll help." I flipped it to him. Oh, an hour into the flight, Zoilo came down the aisle, flipped Ted Williams' hitting stuff to me. I said, "What do you think?" He said, "Baloney." He didn't say baloney, but I'm saying baloney. I couldn't believe it. And he hit 190. One ball and one strike. Hard ground ball, nice backhanded effort by Donnie Murphy, and that will be that. But not before the Dodgers scored 3 and hit 2 home runs. And at the end of 5, Dodgers 7, Milwaukee 1. Sponsored by the Lexus Command Performance Sales Event, now through March 31st. Hyun-Jin Ryu is still out there. So Ryu gave up a run in the first inning, has settled down. He retired 4 in a row, then he walked 2 in a row, and he has now turned around and retired 9 in a row. So leading 7-1, he'll be pitching to Jonathan LaCroix, Alex Gonzalez, and Chris Davis. So LaCroix, good ball player, fine catcher, starts it off. One ball and no strikes. Pulled on the ground to short, gobbled up nicely there by the Dodgers' Nick Punto. That takes care of LaCroix. That's 10 in a row retired by Ryu. And the batter, Alex Gonzalez. Alex Gonzalez a very flashy ball player, playing first base today. Normally a shortstop, and what a shortstop. From Venezuela, spent years with the Marlins, Red Sox and Reds. One of those kids back in Venezuela, he endlessly threw a baseball at a concrete block that separated his parents' home from the neighbors. His arm strengthened by doing that so much that those throws were taking chunks of concrete out of the wall. He's an even 6, 202-pounder, and the old story, the harder they swing, down he goes. 11 in a row, retired by Ryu. Remember the trivia question? We told you the Dodgers now are 5 years into training over here. However, how many years did the Dodgers train at their previous home in Vero Beach? You have any idea? Wow. 1948 to 2005, 60 years in Vero Beach. What memories we have of Vero. Meanwhile, Rio gets an ovation as he leaves with 2 out. He's made enough pitches, struck out. Well, he retired 11 in a row and struck out 6, and we'll be right back. Kevin Gregg picking up now for Ryu, has a tough act to follow as he works on Chris Davis. Gets a strike and the count 0-1. A little bit about Kevin Gregg. He's a big fella, 6'6", 235. He's from Corvallis, Oregon, signed at a high school by the A's and began pitching professionally in '88. Came to the big leagues with the Angels in 2003. Went from the Angels to the Marlins to the Cubs, Blue Jays, and Orioles. And although he's from Corvallis, he spent a lot of years as a little boy going to Dodger Stadium. His grandparents lived in Glendale, California. And since he was 8 years old, his mom and dad would take him along with the grandparents, and he'd watch Mike Scioscia and Mickey Hatcher when they were all Dodgers. He got kind of a jolt last year. Big fastball, and that just overpowers the hitter, ends the inning. So that's 12 in a row retired by the Dodgers. And at the end of 5.5, 7-1. And Hyun-Jin Ryu calls it a day as he heads for the clubhouse after a very impressive performance. Bottom of the 6th inning, and we see now we'll have a new battery. Blake Lally, L-A-L-L-I, will take over behind the plate, and Ron Kroenke, make it Zach Kroenke, K-R-O-E-N-K-E, will now do the pitching. Dodgers leading handily, 7-1. So Kroenke, the left-hander, looking for a job in spring training and trying to impress. Gallardo, Axford, Kinsler, and now Kroenke. First pitch, foul ball down the line. Should go back into the stands, and does. Going through the little files that we have brought from home. Helped us with a little bit of knowledge on the various players, but you can't have it on all of them, so we'll see. Fly ball to shallow center, almost overrunning it, but coming in to make the play is Carlos Gomez. A.J. Ellis singled and fly to center. He's coming up. A.J. having a very good spring, getting ready. And ball one. If you joined us late, Brewers got a run in the first inning against Ryu, and then he was brilliant after that, and at one stage finished up retiring 11 in a row. So Rio went out. Kevin Gregg came in and struck out his only hitter. Meanwhile, the Dodgers had Adrian Gonzalez hit a 3-run home run in the first inning. Ethier doubled in a run in the third. Adrian hit a 2-run home run in the third, and Mark Ellis had a solo home run. So put it all together, and it's 7-1 in favor of the Dodgers, and we're now in the bottom of the 6th. Last year, just to complicate matters, the Brewers had Kroenke and Greinke. They have a couple of Gomez and a couple of Gonzalez. But they do have a Murphy, and that's fouled away. Do you ever want to learn a word that you can use as a toast today, being St. Patrick's Day? You can repeat after me, and I'll give you the toast. The first word, part of it, Shlanta. Shlanta. Doesn't care about the spelling. S-H-A-L-N-T-H-E. Shlanta. The next is Wallager. W-A-L-A-G-E-R. So you put all that together, you have Shlanta Wallager. Okay? So that, in Old Gaelic, that would be to your health. Shlanta Wallager. Now, if you want to have an answer, I'll do that slowly because it's easy. The answer is Ta, Me, Ga-ma. Ta, Me, Ga-ma. So all together, Shlanta Wallager, Ta, Me, Ga-ma. There. Save me a seat at the bar. 7-1 Dodgers. Nick Punto with A.J. Ellis at first. Off the plate, ball one. I mean, there aren't very many sports telecasts where you're going to learn an Irish toast. That's a strike. Tomorrow on Prime Ticket, Arizona. Later on in the month on the 26th, a night game with Colorado on television. And then it'll be time just about to go home. 3 with the Angels, 2 in Anaheim. We'll televise the middle game at Dodger Stadium. Kroenke, 1 out, has A.J. Ellis at first. Nick Punto trying to move him around, and the Dodgers lead 7-1. And that's slicing into right field. That will fall. Base hit for Punto. Ellis breezing into third. So the Dodgers in business again. First and third. Jesus Flores, a backup catcher, will now come up and bat for the Dodgers. Jesus Flores. So Punto comes up with his hit. Flores batting for Carl Crawford, who had 3 at-bats as the DH. Fly to center, grounded out twice. So Kroenke in some trouble here. Ellis and Pinto at the corners, and the Dodgers trying to add to a 7-1 lead. Dodgers 7-11, 7 runs, 11 hits. The Brewers 1 run, 3 hits. Slicing fly ball going down the right field line and heading for the stands and out of play. Few notes about Jesus Flores. Jesus from Venezuela, 6'1", 210. He was originally signed by the Mets back in 2002. He did come up and play for Washington 7, 8, 9, 11, and 12. So he's been around. And he is late on the high fastball. Flores, 28 years old, 29 in October. 7-1 Dodgers. And he's done. So Flores strikes out for the second out in the inning. And the batter will be Mark Ellis. Mark Ellis, a big 3 for 3 today. Single to right, single to center, and homered. Then in the third inning, he banged one to center, and on the fifth inning, he unloaded. Deep to left field, over the fence and upstairs. Foul back, 0-1. Dodgers trying to win their 8th game in the spring. They are 7-11 with 3 ties. Milwaukee 8-10 with 1 tie. The Brewers were a very tough team at home. Their record at home last year, it was 17 games above 500. Dodgers were 9. Difference on the road, Dodgers 1 game better than breaking even. Brewers were 15 under. Big difference. Fastball jumped in at the last minute. Got a late movement. 2-1 the count. Dodgers lead 7-1, 2 out off the plate. So Ellis up there with a 3-1 count. 2 down. A.J. Ellis down the line from third. Nick Punto away from first. And ball 4. So Ellis bidding for a perfect day. A walk, 2 singles, and a home run. So Andre Ethier is another guy bidding for a perfecto. Andre Ethier double to left, double to left center, single to left. So he's not pulled the ball yet. And of course this is most interesting as he goes up against a left-hander. And one of the things he was talking about a couple of weeks ago, we told you about the sweet spot, and that's what he's looking for, especially now with a left-hander. And he got the spot he wanted, but he hits a one-hopper, and that's that. So the Dodgers get a base hit and a couple of walks and lead 3. And at the end of 6, Dodgers lead 7-1. This is the first of 4 telecasts from Camelback Ranch, 3 on KCAL, 1 on Prime Ticket. Then, of course, we'll move back home and do the Dodger Angel game from Dodger Stadium. And right around the corner, opening day. But let's get back to this one. Well, it's been a very pleasant Major League ball game, but now it has become a minor league exhibition game in the spring. We're getting a new lineup, new players. We'll stick with pitcher Kevin Gregg until we have a chance. And we can understand if you're going to put the pens and pencils away as the varsity leaves. Foul ball down the line, out of play. It's 7-1 Dodgers. We're in the 7th inning. The new Dodger catcher, we'll start with him because he's so close. That's Matt Wallach behind the plate. That's Coach Tim Wallach's son. So Matt Wallach behind the plate. After that, hold on. In right field, Noel Cuevas. Ground ball to first. Jacobs there to make the play. His name is Chris Jacobs. Cole Garner will be coming up. So Jacobs, Yanoa, Sellers on the infield. I'm not sure of the third baseman yet. Ground ball under the glove of a diving Justin Sellers, and that'll be a base hit for Garner. That meant 13 in a row had been retired until that base hit. 13 in a row. Base hit. Brian Barden, who has been sent out, I believe. Nevertheless, it's a split squad day, and they still have a lot of, there must be 50 some odd players here. Well, they can still use them. Elian Herrera is now in center. Cuevas in right. And I'm not sure of the left fielder. Way out in front, anticipating fastball. Caleb Gindel struck out, fly to center, 0 for 2. Hector Gomez on deck. Dodgers 7 runs, 11 hits, no errors. Brewers 1 run, 4 hits, and no errors. For the Dodgers, 3 home runs. Adrian Gonzalez has a 3-run home run, a 2-run home run, and a scoring fly ball. So Adrian now has a half a dozen runs batted in today in this game. Andre Ethier, 2 doubles and a single. Mark Ellis, 2 singles and a home run. So a couple of the boys really put on a show against Gallardo, Axford, and Kinsler. They'll get the force play at second. So Jacobs down to Sellers for the force. 2 down. Hector Gomez will be coming up. Hector Gomez struck out, fly to center, 0 for 2. We have the left fielder's name. In fact, we have all 3 of them. His name is Brian Cavazos Galvez. That's Cavazos. Cavazos. And Galvez. That's a lot of names to call on a fly ball. 7th inning, 2 outs, 7-1 Dodgers. Beautiful day, and a temperature 8,743 fans, 73-degree day. And call strike 3 as Gomez strikes out a second time. So Greg turns in a nice inning. No runs a hit, a man left. It's still 7-1 Dodgers, bottom of the 7th. And brought to you by Carl's Jr., made from scratch buttermilk biscuits, baked fresh every morning. Well, now it's time for Milwaukee to take out a lot of their players, and we'll be a while trying to do that. Dodgers scored 3 in the first, 1 in the third, 3 more in the fifth to break it wide open. The Brewers' only run came in the first inning. Hard ground ball, but a nice pick at third, and just like that, one down. Elian Herrera is coming up. Rather than put the Brewers in there and then get involved in a play, if we possibly can come up while that play is on, okay. Otherwise, we're not going to try and get too much of a scrambled egg out of this change. Ball 1 to Herrera. You talk about a fellow who can play a lot of positions. Herrera can play shortstop, third base, second base, center field, and left field. So he's another one in the mix, along with people like Jerry Hairston, Nick Punto, you name it. He's from San Pedro de Macari in the Dominican. And he goes the other way into right field. You know, one of the things about Herrera against left-handers last year in Chattanooga, he hit .404. So if they need an extra hitter and a left-hander coming in, he's the guy to come off the bench. So Herrera single to right. Here's Brian Cavazos Galvez, the left fielder. Ball 1. Bottom of the seventh, 7-1 Dodgers. It's been Ryu and Gregg for the Dodgers. 4 pitchers so far for Milwaukee, with Gallardo, the front runner, starting the game. Long drive into left center field, way up into the grassy knoll. Home run for Galvez. So Brian Cavazos Galvez bombs one out for the Dodgers, their 4th home run of the day. Now lead 9-1. Pretty good afternoon's work. So with all those names, it's working. Cavazos Galvez. And now a shot up the middle for a base hit. Brian Barton continues the onslaught, 3rd hit in a row. Matt Wallach, Tim's son, the catcher, is now the batter. A.J. Ellis had singled, walked, and flied to center. Now gives way to Wallach. Justin Sellers bats 9th in Punto's spot. He's out on deck. Tomorrow, the Dodgers play the Arizona Diamondbacks. They'll come over from the Salt River Park, play here. Maybe a chance to see Kirk Gibson and company. Arizona's stoked. They think they have a ball club that can win the division. So do the Dodgers, so do the Giants. It will be a heck of a race. 9 runs, 14 hits for the Dodgers. 1 run, 4 hits for Milwaukee. Dodgers trying to get their record to 8-11 and 3 ties. The Brewers would be 8-11, 1 tie. Foul back. Matt Wallach, he's 27 years old, lives in Yorba Linda, went to Cypress College and then transferred to Cal State Fullerton. Fouled away. Matt, left-hand hitting catcher. He's 6'1", about 210. Matt has a brother, Brett, a pitcher in the Cubs organization. And he has another brother, Chad, a junior catcher at Cal State Fullerton. So it is a baseball family. A pitch gobbled up, and they got the force play. A wonderful play by Arias, the shortstop, to backhand the ball to his second baseman. Orlando Arcia made that flip. So they get a highlight force play. And the batter now, Justin Sellers. Justin Sellers, late in spring training, had to have a toenail removed. And since as a baseball player you're on your feet all the time, having a bad wheel, as the old timers used to call the foot. So he's behind in schedule. 0-1 the count to Justin. Lays off a tantalizing pitch, but it was up. Justin Ryan Sellers went to Marina High School in Huntington Beach. His dad pitched in the major leagues. That's a strike. His dad pitched for Boston for 4 years. Justin committed to Cal State Fullerton before signing with Oakland. Sellers, 27 years old. And a little pop fly. The second baseman wandering all the way over to bump into Asius. And that'll be that. So at the end of 7, it's 9-1 in favor of the Dodgers. by Morongo Casino Resort and Spa. Good times. Well, the Dodgers are having a good time before a crowd of 8,743. Temperature in the middle 70s. Slight clouds above to cut down the heat. Just been a great day. And for the Dodgers offensively, they were more brilliant than the sunshine. 9 runs, 14 hits for the Dodgers, including home runs. Gonzalez hit 2, Mark Ellis hit 1. Chris Schumacher gave way to Calves, and he homered. Pop fly, first baseman called out, and it's the shortstop coming in, Garcias, to make the catch. One away. Matt Guerrier is the third Dodger pitcher. Ryu, 5 2/3, allowed just 1 run, struck out 6. Then Kevin Gregg worked an inning and a third, struck out 1. And now Matt Guerrier. Knocked down at third, but lost. By the time Barden recovers, no play. So it'll be a single off the glove of Brian Barden. And Lally coming up, hitting in the number 3 slot. Lally hitting .333 in the spring. He's been a very hot hitter. And ball 1. Lally has also managed to get in 17 games. They've only played 19. So he's definitely got a strong shot of backing up Jonathan LaCroix. Shot between the legs of Guerrier, on through into center field. Though the Burbank Club now with runners at first and second, 1 out, as we keep trying to figure out who has just come in and who has left. Orlando Arcius, he's the shortstop. Logan Schaefer is out on deck. He would bat for Chris Davis. Nine runs, 14 hits, no errors for the Dodgers. 1 run, 6 hits for Milwaukee. Fouled away. There is a hit in every slot in the Dodger lineup except leadoff. That's where Carl Crawford made his first appearance in a game as the DH. Swung the bat very well. Went 0 for 3, but that was not what they were looking for. They just wanted to make sure he could spin the bat without hurting himself, and apparently did pretty well. Fly ball to deep center and a couple of hard ground balls to short. High pop fly down the right field line. So 2 down. And now Logan Schaefer will be coming up. Schaefer off the bench. And ball one. So Matt Guerrier having a good spring. Logan Schaefer getting a look at the game, trying to impress. Timed it, but he hits a line drive right at second base. So Yanoa handling the line drive. The inning is over. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left. At the end of 7 1/2, 9-1 Dodgers. Today, the Dodgers have a 9-1 lead over the Brewers. 2 of those home runs came very early in the game. In the first inning, Adrian Gonzalez with 2 men aboard buried one in the crowd in deep left center. Later on, in the 5th inning, he hit one up above the bullpen to give him 2 home runs and 6 RBIs for the day. Dodgers also had home runs by Mark Ellis and Calvaso. Josh Stinson is coming out of the Milwaukee bullpen now, and Stinson will do a little pitching before, I'm sure, being reassigned. So here come the Dodgers now, leading by 8. And a strike. Jesus Flores leading off here in the 8th inning. Don't forget, tomorrow the Dodgers will continue their battles on television. Prime ticket against Arizona. KCAL will be back later, and they will televise a White Sox game and also the Dodgers and the Colorado game, and that'll be our final telecast in Arizona. The next one would then be the Saturday game at Dodger Stadium, the exhibition game with the Angels, and then April the 1st, opening day. Little pop foul off to the right, out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So it's been Gallardo, Axford, Kinsler, Kroenke, and now Stinson. Dodgers took advantage immediately of Gallardo. Dodgers scored 3 in the first, 1 in the third, 3 in the fifth, 2 more in the seventh. Well, they've broken this game wide open. Fouled away. We rarely, if ever, get reports of a split squad day. So we have part of the team here, part a talking stick. So I'm not sure what miracles Yasiel Puig or Matt Kemp might have performed. Two and two. Hit to the hole, backhanded there nicely by Arceus to make the play. A reminder, Monday, April the 15th, the first 40,000 fans in attendance at Dodger Stadium will receive a remarkable statue. It's a Jackie Robinson, Don Newcomb, and Roy Campanella statue presented by the film 42 in theaters April 12th. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions. Rafael Ynoa. You know him. He's playing second base. Left-hand batter. On the outside corner. Just stayed out there. Ball one. Two and 0 the count. And a fly ball to deep left field. Playable back there, however. Caught by Calvis. So the long out to left. 2 down. And Noel Cuevas coming up. Talking about Milwaukee in their very tough division. They were 83 and 79 last year, third behind Cincinnati and St. Louis. They also traded away Zach Greinke, Sean Markham, and Randy Wolf, and they were all serious considerations before they did leave them go. Giovanni Gallardo is still there, but the pitching will be very questionable. As we mentioned, the only teams against whom they had a better earned run average would be Chicago, Houston, and Colorado. And, of course, Houston's now in the American League. So they figure to have Gallardo, Estrada, Fires, Narveson, and Rogers in their bullpen. We just saw John Axford. We also saw Brandon Kinsler. They figure to be in the pen. One of the fellows they are really high on, and the question will be their starting center fielder, Carlos Gomez, a rather remarkable but unpredictable talent. Last year, Gomez hit .260 with 19 home runs, and the ball is boxed at third for an error. So Chris Jacobs kicks the ground ball and draws the error. Well, we're going to check the names. Chris Jacobs, who's playing first base, is now coming up to hit. Okay. 9-1 Dodgers, bottom of the 8th. And he breaks his bat and bangs it into right center for a base hit. And in a moment, the Dodgers will have first and third. So the error followed by the broken bat single, and the Dodgers are in business to add some more. Elian Herrera coming up. Elian Herrera, when you look back to last year, he was certainly a surprise contributor 9 years after he was signed out of high school. Wonder is the big question, will he play a part in 2013? Ball one. Herrera, when you visit his locker, you find 3 gloves. He can play almost anywhere, as we mentioned earlier. Play on the infield, the outfield. When you ask Elian about last year, he said, I learned one thing. Nothing is impossible. It was a surprise when I was called up. 10 years in the minor leagues. He was 18 when he was playing in the Dominican, and the Dodgers signed him as a catcher. And as Elian said, I was real slow and skinny. You never hear of anybody who's real slow and skinny. But that's what he said he was. He had a 3-year stretch, so he stole at least 30 bases. Though he piled up 108 stolen bases. And he was hitting last year .358 in Albuquerque when the Dodgers called him up when Juan Uribe was injured. That was the middle of May. Then Jerry Hairston was injured. So Herrera was filling in 2 spots, third base and left field. Finally, Mark Ellis was injured, so he played at second base. And when Matt Kemp went down, he played center field for Kemp. So Herrera hangs in there, draws the walk. The Dodgers have loaded the bases, and Brian Cavazos Galvez coming up. He's the boy who hit the 2-run home run back in the 7th inning. Skip Schumacher started the day in center field and doubled in his first at-bat. Galvazos homered in his first at-bat. And ball one. So Stinson is struggling. Timeout for the moment. Lally out to talk to him. Here's the home run that he hit in his other at-bat. And he got all of it. He hit it above the sign, over the fence, onto the grassy knoll. Dodgers 9 runs, 16 hits. Milwaukee blown away, 1 run, 6 hits. And we're in the bottom of the 8th. Slider that misses. The endless tryouts, the endless hope, and then the fading of the hope, and the end for a lot of players in spring training. Two and 0. 2-1. Dodgers trying to win their 8th. They'd be 8-11 with 3 ties. Milwaukee would be 8-11 with one tie. Tomorrow, the Arizona Diamondbacks. Two and two. Dodgers with Cuevas, Jacobs, and Herrera all out on the lines. Boy, a name out of the past is out on deck. Pedro Guerrero is out on deck to hit for Barton. No, not that Pedro. And the parade continues. Ball 4. So in comes the run. Everybody else moves up 90 feet. Dodgers now lead 10-1. And Pedro Guerrero just brings back memories saying the name. I can still see Pedro Guerrero when he would come up to hit. For all the world, like a lumberman, he would spit on the palms of both hands, rub them together on the bat as if it was a huge axe, and he was going up to the plate to chop down a giant tree. Pedro Guerrero. So quick to smile, so quick to laugh. Everybody called him Pete. Little foul ball off to the right, out of play. That's the thing about spring training. You realize how many come and how many go. Over the years, the franchise, the team keeps changing. Some memories linger, like skywriting smoke, and then others you forget about immediately. There are some it seems you never forget. That's going to go to the hole. Nice pick. The play, not in time. Another run, and the Dodgers lead 11-1. And Pedro Guerrero has a single to short and a run batted in. Everybody else moves up. So it's a 2-run inning. So looking as Rick Krantz goes to the mound, the pitching coach, we shall pause, and we'll be back right after this. and sponsored by Southern California Dodge Dealers and the Dodge Dart. Dodge, new rules. 6 pitchers used so far by Milwaukee, trying to stem the tide, stop the bleeding, whatever you want to call it. But the Dodgers having a field day, leading 11-1 against a ball club that pushed them around all last year. Remember, Milwaukee beat the Dodgers 6 out of 7 meetings last year. Brewers won 2 of the 3 played in Milwaukee. And then shockingly, the Brewers won all 4 at Dodger Stadium. And of course, the #1 Brewer is not in the lineup. He's still actively engaged in the World Baseball Cup, and that would be Ryan Braun. Dodgers scored 3 in the first, 1 in the third, 3 in the fifth, 2 in the seventh, and 2 here in the eighth. And here's Matt Wallach. Bases loaded, 2 out, and ball 1. On deck, Justin Sellers. Tell you one thing, you and I can write off a spring training defeat without even thinking about it. But those involved, especially those who have been hammered, their professional pride is strong. They don't want to talk about it. They have to be held accountable, and the game just fell apart early. So it'll be an unhappy bus ride back to Maryville for the Milwaukee Brewers. Way inside again. It's the kind of a game when trying to prepare. I don't have a press guide, but I've accumulated a lot of stuff. And I try also to come up with something on kids who are not even close to being majors. That's going to be the last out. But they are using some players who are not even in my collection of minor league players. So you really have to bite the bullet. And at the end of 8, 11-1 Dodgers. At bat for your iPhone, iPad, or Android devices. You can get spring training scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and a lot more. Text at bat to 31826 or visit Dodgers.com for more details. Well, the Dodgers now bring in a big right-hander to try and finish it off. 6'3", 210, Mark Lowe. Born in Houston, lives in Missouri City, Texas, and went to the University of Texas at Arlington. Mark Lowe made his debut with the Mariners in 2008. Then he was sent over to Texas in the Cliff Lee trade. Strained muscles in his right side. Had the option and decided to sign with the Dodgers. Slider, circle change, mid-90s fastball, and some veteran experience. He pitched in the World Series a couple of times with the Rangers in 2010, but he has an out. He has an out by the end of the month. The out is he doesn't make the Major League roster, he can move on. So that last name Lowe, L-O-W-E, not Derek, it's Mark, pitching to stay with the team. Blake Davis at the plate. 11-1 Dodgers, ninth inning, just inside. Lowe has added one pitch. He's always had that fastball, slider, and change. He's also added a slower breaking ball just to give the hitters a different look. They say that for Lowe to be pitching at all, he's a medical marvel. He's had so many different surgeries on his arm, on his elbow, on his shoulder. One of those things, son, there's no way you can pitch. And he's pitching and battling for a job. So leading 11-1, he walks the leadoff man. And, of course, that is very upsetting to any pitcher. That's the last thing you want to do. The wear and tear on the arm has been brutal. Rene Tassoni, who was visually involved in the fight between the U.S. and Mexico. Cruz and Tassoni did not cross paths. It was Canada, not USA, and it was Luis Cruz who got involved, but Cruz started the game and left, and Tassoni now finishing up. Check swing for a strike to Rene. Rene Tassoni. Tassoni certainly got more ink than he's ever gotten in his career. And he promptly hangs it to center. A diving catch in center field to rob him of a base hit. Elian Herrera, who came into the game late, nevertheless makes his presence felt. Of course, that's the kind of player he is. So one away, Caleb Gindel, who has been in the game all the way, the right fielder at the plate. Oh, and 1 to count. So one out in the ninth, 11-1 in favor of the Dodgers. Marvelous catch by Elian Herrera. Caleb Gindel out of Milton, Florida, 5'9", 185. A versatile player plus a left-handed batter. So he has a definite chance of making the club, so they tell me. He's been a professional since 2007. Worked his way up to the Pacific Coast League, and he's played for Nashville each of the last 2 years. He had .317 last year. Gindel will be 25 in August. So it would appear he has the seasoning. Been in the minor leagues for 6 years. Mark Lowe trying to end it, gave up the walk. Herrera saved him with the diving catch. 2 outs away from a shower. And Gindel waiting at the plate. Dodgers 11 runs, 16 hits. The Brewers just 1 run, 6 hits. 1 Brewer error. Matt Wallach behind the plate. And you can tell these fellows just have not worked together. So Wallach having to come out and talk to him about the signs. Way out in front on the change. And down goes Gindel. So 2 out. And the batter will be Sean Halton. So Sean Halton batting 9th in the lineup. 2 out, 9th inning, 11-1 Dodgers. So the Dodgers will have a little St. Patrick's Day get-together after the game. They will have reason to celebrate. And perhaps we will dust off that expression we were trying to teach you earlier. Remember? You forgot? No. Say it again. Schlanta Walliger. Schlanta Walliger. And you answer Tame Gaman. Happy St. Pat's. And to the friendly sons of St. Patrick, have a wonderful evening tonight, celebrating and honoring one of the true Irishmen left in this world, Peter O'Malley, son of Walter Francis. $11-1. Been that way in a while. All right, Mark trying to end it here. Dodgers 11 runs, 16 hits, no errors. The Brewers 1 run. They got that in the first inning. 6 hits and 1 error. And although it's not much of a game, it's another important outing for Mark Lowe and for the Dodgers to study his stuff. Remember, he has an out. If he doesn't make the club at the end of spring training, he can walk. Fastball popped to right field, down the line. Cuevas coming, going out to make the catch is Yanoa. And the Dodgers win it on a brilliant play, as well as the other play by Herrera. So 2 fine defensive plays close it out. 11 runs, 16 hits, and no errors for the Dodgers. 1 run, 6 hits, 1 error for Milwaukee. Our next game, remember, will be tomorrow, and that will be against Arizona on Prime Ticket. Later on, we'll have 2 more on KCAL. One of them will be a night game with Colorado. So till then, have a wonderful St. Patty's Day, as we say, Aaron Gobra from Camelback Ranch in Glendale, Arizona.